Hi there, this is Paul Pearson. This is the 28th installment promoting my doctrinal book, Rightly Dividing the Word of Truth. Today we're going to be talking about the 24 elders. Who may these 24 elders be? So we're going to do just a quick presentation of this, and I'll start to read now. Who are the 24 elders mentioned in the book of Revelation? Some would say these are those representing all believers throughout history. However, these are all men and pastors, or what the Bible identifies as bishops in Titus chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. What about all the laymen, women, children that have been saved over all Earth's history? This surely seems like a poor representation of all believers from every kindred and tongue and people and nation. There are 195 nations in the world today. Revelation chapter 7, verse 9 and after much more represents just occurring rapture of every believer. Why the pre-tribulation people want these 24 elders to represent all believers who ever lived is to prop up their unbiblical theory. They say, look, these elders are in white robes, so the bodily resurrection of all believers must have taken place. Revelation chapter 6, verses 9 through 11 gives information about souls that are given white robes. Further, these verses destroy the theory of those who believe the previous events of the tribulation are God's wrath being poured out on the world. Read carefully what these martyred souls are saying. How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Revelation chapter 7 gives further proof that God has not begun pouring out his wrath upon the world. Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. The whole pre-tribulation rapture of believers hinges on the grasping of straw-type verses that have no substance when closely examined. Like the Apostle John, supposedly representing the pre-tribulation rapture of all believers. One person shown a vision in the spirit, not in the body, and afterwards back in his physical body on the Isle of Patmos. Where's the sun and moon darkened? The stars falling from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shaken. The Son of Man coming in the clouds, and the angel sent with a great sound of a trumpet to bodily gather the elect. Seems to me there is much symbolism missing if we are to consider John's experience as a representation of the elect, and I put in brackets believers, being caught up to be ever with the Lord. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12 begins to describe the events of the opening of the sixth seal and the day of the Lord. Two aspects are associated with this: the coming of Jesus to gather the elect believers, and the pouring out of God's wrath upon this sinful, rebellious world. And I ended this letter again with yours in Christ, Paul. Very interesting subject about who these 24 elders are. I believe they are pastors, very, bishops, pastors. It's pretty well the same terminology used interchangeably. We look at Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11, and it says, and he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers. So we're talking about great men of God that are very privileged to be of the 24 elders close around the throne of God. And I think that would be a very important position to have in and around the throne. So these are men, and they're great men of God that have been used mightily in preaching the gospel. And that's just about it for me. And I want to thank you for staying with us. And we'll see you again next time, God willing.